Here's your wrestling news for December 5th, 2020. And your headlines for today include: AEW wants a working relationship with more wrestling promotions. AEW has different idea for Invasion angle, and huge spoiler on AEW and Impact Wrestling's plan to trade talent. Details of what Sting wanted from WWE before signing with AEW revealed. WWE creative think tank was drunk on Smackdown as it was evident during Roman Reigns' match. Why did Bayley lose clean on WWE Smackdown to Natalya? Vince McMahon surprised a recently fired WWE employee with a house visit. Heartbreaking new details on events leading to Patterson's passing. Randy Orton going to Firefly Funhouse and more on WWE Raw next week. CM Punk says NXT superstars should be embarrassed that Pat McAfee has the best promos. John Moxley booked for big event in Middle East, Linda McMahon's confusing tweets, and more. We are kicking off today with AEW as their new partnership with Impact may not be the last crossover they do. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's reported that AEW's current attitude is to work with everyone, and the door isn't closed on a partnership with New Japan, AAA, or the NWA. The latter makes sense given that AEW's Serena Deeb is the NWA Women's Champion, whilst former champion and current NWA talent Thunder Rosa has appeared in AEW on multiple occasions. AEW World Champion Kenny Omega is also the AAA Mega Champion, a title he'll defend at Triple Mania against Laredo Kid. Right now, the feeling is that AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's proposed partnership will do better now that Harold Meij is gone, and with Omega teasing Kazuchika Okada by doing a Rainmaker pose, and the announcers also called attention to that, this crossover may happen very soon. More news from AEW and Impact next, as Kenny Omega will be on the Opposition show this Tuesday, but he may not be around for long. According to Wrestling Inc., AEW's relationship with Impact is not currently scheduled to be that intertwined, and whilst fans have created plenty of dream matches, the plan isn't for that much of a crossover. Omega appearing on Impact Wrestling as the AEW World Champion will reportedly be a one-off deal done as a favor for Don Callis, and Omega was the one who requested that Callis work commentary during the Winter is Coming main event match. Even if Omega only appears once for Impact, the idea is for the Good Brothers having just one match in AEW, and the current mindset is that the Young Bucks will face the team of Gallows and Anderson. Body Slam reports that Chris Jericho has also supported the idea of working with other companies. He really wants a partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling. They also have their own idea of invasion angles. He states, "There is universal realization that invasion angles rarely go well for all but one party. So it's more likely the focus will be on competition or rivalry without a full-on other company invasion." It doesn't look like fans will be seeing too many AEW vs Impact matches, but even having the two companies together in any way is still a historic deal for both promotions. It's clear that AEW Winter is Coming was a historic night, but there's been questions about how they use that particular name. On TV, the phrase Winter is Coming is associated with Game of Thrones, and whilst Tony Khan isn't a fan of the show, his mother loves it. Since Warner Media, TNT's parent company, owns Game of Thrones, Khan was granted permission to use the term, and it's expected that the name will be a yearly tradition for the company. The first Winter is Coming was a huge success for AEW and brought in huge moments, and it looks like Winter is Coming will likely come again next December. This week's show didn't just see Omega win the title and go to Impact, but it also saw Sting's debut, and shortly after, AEW confirmed he's inked a multi-year deal with Tony Khan. The Stinger isn't expected to take many bumps, as he was forced to retire after his Night of Champions 2015 match with Seth Rollins, and while stenosis and neck issues ended his career, he was still interested in one WWE match. Dave Meltzer has noted that Sting was all for a cinematic match with The Undertaker, which could have concealed both men's obvious limitations, and whilst fans have been wanting a match for years, this apparently never appealed to Vince McMahon. He said, "WWE had no interest in him as a television character. Khan wants to make him a regular television character, although he very clearly has to be protected when it comes to not taking bumps. Still, it is known Sting wanted to do a cinematic match with Undertaker, and for whatever reason, while fans have clamored for Undertaker vs Sting for years, it has never been a match that appealed to McMahon. Sting will reportedly be a regular on AEW TV, as Tony Khan wants to use him far more on screen than WWE, and the Hall of Famer could get some lapsed WCW viewers to watch TNT again. The backstage reactions to Sting's arrival in AEW have been overwhelmingly positive, and there is a genuine hype surrounding the Icon's AEW stint, hype that AEW would be foolish not to capitalize on. Smackdown news next, as this week's show saw Roman Reigns and Jey Uso face Otis and Kevin Owens, which ended with a bizarre finish. During the match, the Tribal Chief destroyed the ex-Mr. Money in the Bank with the steel steps, which surely should have caused a DQ, but instead the ref let the match continue, but ended when Reigns used his guillotine. One main gripe about WWE's creative is that they don't think things through, and that certainly seems the case here, and even a mistake such as this was noticed by tons of people across social media. That being said, this was the only subpar thing from Reigns, who otherwise was his usual excellent self. But what did you think of this bizarre booking? Leave your views in the comments. Speaking of SmackDown, Natalya picked up a huge win over Bayley this week, and whilst the Queen of Hearts is a former champion, a graduate of the Heart Dungeon, and a future Hall of Famer, it was strange to see her win clean this week. It's no secret that Natalya has spent much of her career on the losing end to push other talent, and given how prominent Bayley has been in the past year, it was odd to see her lose to someone who needed multiple chances to get into the SmackDown Women's Survivor Series team. It's possible that Natalya is being primed for a massive push, perhaps against current SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks, or even that Bayley has lost favor with The Office. These are the only two explanations for what played out on WWE SmackDown this week, and what did you make of the show? Sound off below. Now, WWE released and furloughed a lot of people on April 15th, and Gerald Briscoe was one of those furloughed, but later received a call from Vince McMahon saying he was no longer needed. While speaking to Wrestling Inc., Briscoe revealed that this wasn't the end of his relationship with WWE, as the company asked permission to shoot Bray Wyatt's segments on his property, and he explained, "It didn't shock me that Bruce Pritchard was coming over because Bruce is my brother, but it did shock me that Vince would take the time out of his schedule after flying all the way down from Connecticut, going through all the protocols and everything you have to go through, get in the car, and drive another hour and a half, come over and visit me for an hour and a half." Vince McMahon obviously cares about Briscoe, even if the company had decided they didn't need a man with over 35 years experience in WWE, and whilst McMahon's showing up was unexpected, he went to a lot of effort to make it happen. From one legend to another, as earlier this week, Pat Patterson sadly passed at 79 years old, and now we have new information about the Hall of Famer's final days. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was noted that Patterson had bladder cancer several years ago, and was suffering from dementia in more recent years, though was, quote, pretty good at telling stories and trying to be funny around fans. Though Patterson used to spend his summers in Montreal, the ongoing situation means the inaugural Intercontinental Champion was confined to Florida, where he remained close friends with former superstar Sylvain Grenier, and after the two developed a father-son relationship, Grenier became his power of attorney. It was also reported that Sylvain was in Florida to see Pat last month, and when he noticed the legend had lost about 60 pounds, was concerned for his friend and took him to the hospital, where they discovered a tumor in his lung. Patterson sadly passed before he could attend a biopsy on December 4th that would have helped to decide what the next steps would be, but he'll always remain a legend of professional wrestling. Now, this week also saw WWE announce their latest Performance Center recruitment class, and whilst Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz of the Rascals have signed, their third man, Trey Miguel, wasn't with them. According to the Observer newsletter, Miguel may still sign, but he's considering both WWE and AEW at this time. The Rascals made their last Impact appearance on the November 17th show, and it's been reported that the company and the trio couldn't come to terms, leading to their departure. The newsletter also noted that WWE is highly interested in signing him to reform the Rascals in WWE, and it's unclear whether AEW offered deals to Dez and Wentz before they signed with WWE. If Miguel joins them, he'll likely start on NXT, and at just 26 years old, the youngster is quickly becoming one of the hottest free agents in all of wrestling. More WWE news next, as Tribute to the Troops will air tomorrow on Fox, and the show will have more than just wrestlers appearing. The company has announced that Rob Gronkowski, Drew Brees, Joel McHale, and Tim Allen will be on the broadcast, and Fox Sports' Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, Tony Gonzalez, and Michael Strahan will also join the show. Ringside News is reporting that the event was recorded prior to last night's SmackDown, so it was a pretty long day in the Thunderdome. So far, only 3 matches have been confirmed, and we'll have to see how this show plays out when it airs tomorrow night on Fox. We're looking ahead to next week's Raw as the show is taking shape. On Twitter, WWE confirmed Drew McIntyre and Sheamus will face Miz, John Morrison, and AJ Styles in handicap action, and that Randy Orton has invited himself to the Firefly Funhouse. Given that Orton's last venture into Wyatt's property saw him burn down Bray's compound in 2017, we expect this to be a unique segment, and we'll have to see what the two do ahead of their match at WWE TLC. NXT news next as Pat McAfee always wanted to be a WWE superstar, but the NFL called his name first, and the former football star is having the time of his life on the Black and Gold brand. McAfee is cutting some of the best promos on the show, and CM Punk agrees, as in a tweet, Punk said everyone else on the show should feel embarrassed that McAfee is currently doing the best promo work in the entire brand. McAfee's work as a radio host and his passion for wrestling have certainly helped him along the way, and whilst the NXT roster has a lot of talented promos, their promos can't compare to the former NFL star. We'll have to see how long Pat McAfee sticks around, but his gift on the mic and work in the ring has earned him a huge match tomorrow night in War Games. Back to AEW, and former champion Jon Moxley has a huge event booked for next year. On October 23, 2021, Moxley will be a part of the Super Slam 3 show in Qatar, which already has a huge lineup including the Lucha Bros, EC3, Sammy Guevara, and Stone Cold Steve Austin is rumored to be taking part too. Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff, Mark Henry, and the Great Khali have also been announced, and clearly losing the AEW World title hasn't damaged Moxley's star power in the slightest. We've got concerning news as former WWE developmental talent Owen Travers has been arrested in Las Vegas in connection to allegations of being physical with a minor. Travers, real name John Washington, entered custody on November 25th and is currently incarcerated. Travers wrestled as enhancement talent for WWE in 2018 as he teamed with Nathan Ryan as the Vegas Boys to face Shane McMahon and The Miz, and no further details are available at this time. We are looking ahead to WWE TLC as several matches have been confirmed for the show this week. On Smackdown, Kevin Owens challenged Universal Champion Roman Reigns to a TLC match at the event, a match the Tribal Chief accepted. The show will also see The Fiend face Randy Orton, a women's tag team title match pitting Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Raw Women's Champion Asuka and Lana, and SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks faces Carmella. So far, only the Universal title match has been given a stipulation, but fans can expect more tables, ladders, and chairs to be confirmed as we approach December 20th. One person who won't be at TLC is Cody Hall, the son of Scott Hall, as he's officially signed with MLW. The Young Bucks' former enforcer signed with the promotion back in October, and we'll have to see where the second-generation wrestler's career goes from here. And finally today, we're ending with Linda McMahon as the former small business administrator confused fans this week with a bizarre tweet. On Twitter, Linda tweeted for her daughter Stephanie to think, but didn't explain what about. And whilst fans joke that Steph should think about what is the true meaning of the term independent contractors, Linda hasn't explained what she was trying to say, and we doubt she will.